You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Ask Drone U, and welcome to our weekly news show with Drone DJ. Joining me today, as ever, as always, my one and only good friend in the drone industry. Just kidding, lots of friends. But Haya Costello, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you doing?
Hey, Paul. Thank you so much, man. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Finally coming down. We have been training nonstop for like 3 weeks, so I'm actually excited to not do a training this week, but it's right back into the mix next week, and we are already booked out. We have a training scheduled, I think, all the way out until January now. So things are flying.
Tell me about the training you're doing in Hawaii. That's the one I want to join in on, I think.
Yes, so we are doing a training in Kauai, Hawaii in January. We're offering 3 separate classes, a taking flight, which is like an intro class, and then our flagship course, the Flight Mastery course, which has really been gaining attention a lot, especially since the NTSB now requires it for all of their new investigators, which I think is really cool. So that class is really flying off the handles, but we'll also be adding a mapping class. And this training is also one of our Train the Trainer programs. So it's actually a week-long training for our instructors, and then about 4 days of training for average students. So we're opening it up to Hawaii. We are announcing a new training location in Hawaii. It's actually already on our website, so if you want to get a flight mastery training, you can get one in Hawaii now. So really excited about that.
If that doesn't get people on board, I don't know what will, man. I mean, Hawaii, flying drones there, that's got to be pretty amazing.
Well, I mean, hey, Drone U is known for creating experiences because it helps people learn. So we're just taking that to a step further. But before we talk any more about Drone U, I know there's a lot of drone news. Some exciting, some pretty lame. So why don't we go ahead and get started for our first news topic. What do you have for us?
Let's start with the less exciting stuff, I think, for you. I mean, this one, I don't know if it's not really drone news, I guess. I mean, it doesn't fly, but I mean, DJI launched their Robomaster S1, which is this guy. Actually, one thing I think that is really cool are the wheels. I mean, if you see those wheels, they're called mechanism wheels with rollers. So this thing drifts, spins, goes sideways. I mean, I think I need those wheels on my car. Would make parking in the city a heck of a lot easier. They launched this device on June 11th, and it's a robot that you can build, you can program it, you can raise it, you can shoot with it. It's $499, has sensors all over. So, I mean, at the offices of DJI, we were racing with a bunch of people against each other and shooting each other up. It was kind of cool, but it doesn't fly. It's not a drone. It's yet another step. I mean, the last 3 products that DJI launched are the DJI Osmo Pocket, the DJI Osmo Action, and now the Robomaster. And everybody's begging them to launch a new drone. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. But if you're into robotics, if you want to learn how to program and make something and program it to do certain obstacles and maneuvers, then the Robomaster may be your deal. So check it out. $499, like I said. It's a pretty cool device, but again, it's not a drone.
Yeah, no, very interesting. I mean, it depends on the definition of a drone. I guess we could say it's an unmanned ground vehicle. But I will say, it's a great step in the right direction for all the kids out there. If this drone or this UGV makes it into classrooms and STEM classrooms around the country, I think it could be a great thing for kids. And it'll be really interesting to see what the kids end up doing with this. But without a way to attach a camera to it, or an Osmo, or a Ronin, or a Ronin MX, or a Ronin 2, or a Ronin S, or an Osmo Pocket, it's got very limited usage for the hobbyists and commercial pilots out there that are DJI's audience. As you said, very interesting that they launched this. Great for schools. They're very smart. They're trying to be like Apple. Once again, get in really early with the kids, make an impression. And I'm sure that this is what it's focused around. I mean, it's got an airsoft gun on it. It looks like it has an Inspire 2 FPV camera gimbal on it as well. Parts that we're familiar seeing. And again, interested to see what the kids come up with.
Yeah, I mean, apparently Frank Wang, the founder of DJI, is a really big robotics fan. And when they started Robo Wars some time ago, he wanted to come out with a device that's more accessible, that's easier for people to get into, not so expensive, not too complicated. And I think they've done a great job making that. It's for a different audience. It's more geared towards techies or kids that want to become engineers or learn how to program. And it's an easy way to get kids into robotics. So that part is really cool, which may, of course, be a step up in order to get into drone flying at some point. You do see a lot of the technology from the drones being used in the Robomaster as well. So I guess in that sense, it might have been relatively easy for DJI to come out with a product like this. But it's a totally different audience than the audience we're talking about when we're talking about the Inspire, Phantom, or Mavic products from DJI.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Haya. And it's just interesting, to see what's coming down the line. And as we talk about what's coming down the line, it looks like there's a lot of evidence that there may be a lot more coming down the line. In fact, I'm really interested about this next piece of news because it seems like as we've been talking about the Phantom being eliminated from production as a whole, it looks like the Phantom may be making a comeback in Australia. What do you have in this week's next news story?
I wouldn't go as far as calling it a comeback, unfortunately. I mean, I wish it was true, but apparently what happened, there's a drone store in one of the suburbs from Sydney, and they were able to get their hands on a couple of DJI Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 models from the distributor in Australia. They said a couple. I reached out to them. I spoke with one of the owners of the store. It doesn't sound like we're talking about tens of drones. I mean, it sounds more like 5 to 10 drones possibly. How and why they ended up at Camzilla, then that's the store in Australia, I don't know. It doesn't sound like DJI restarted production and started shipping drones or Phantoms to Australia. I don't think it's anything like that. I think this is maybe a number of drones they were able to assemble from all the parts that they still had laying around. Maybe these were refurbished drones. Haven't been able to confirm that, but I don't think there are that many, to be honest. So if you're in Australia and you're looking for a Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, then this is your chance to get them. I just checked it early today. They're still there, but I'm sure he's going to run out of inventory pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would imagine that he would run out of inventory very quickly. Well, I was kind of excited. I was thinking, oh, wait, maybe the Phantom is coming back, but I guess not so fast. So, well, either way, moving on to the next topic in drone news. It seems like as the United States implements new regulations against hobbyist drone pilots, that other countries are implementing new drone laws to restrict abusive behavior. Haya, what do you have?
Yeah, this is in Japan. So in Japan, it's no longer allowed to fly a drone while being drunk. So if you do so, you can face up to 1 year of jail time and a fine of about 300,000 yen, which is almost $3,000. They've made it illegal, and the Transport Ministry said that we believe that operating drones after consuming alcohol is as serious as drunk driving. So apparently they do take it pretty seriously. We've had similar rules enforced here in New Jersey and New York, where they made drunk drone flying illegal. Although, as we were talking about this earlier before we started today's show, if you're operating a vehicle under the influence, depending, I guess, on state laws, you may be liable for illegal actions anyway. So don't do it. If you want to drink, then drink, but don't drive, don't fly drones afterwards. I don't think that's a great idea, whether you're in Japan, Australia, or anywhere else, really.
It's a good point that you bring up because as we discussed in the enforcement podcast with the chief prosecutor of the FAA, Mr. Charles, as I like to call him, he actually mentioned specifically, or we talked a little bit about, and I can't remember if it was actually on the show or pre-show, but we were talking about how the FAA is working more with local law enforcement officers and they're trying to give them enforcement protocols, but that a lot of the information actually comes down to how the state has categorized certain, definitions. Like, for example, if you're in the state of California or Texas, and I'm just giving these as examples, I'm not sure if the law is this way, so please don't take me at my word. But that being said, let's say you're in Texas, and Texas defines vehicles as aircraft. I do not know if that's the case. I'm just giving this as an example. So let's say, as an example, Texas says, hey, aircraft are vehicles as well. Well, if aircraft are defined as vehicles, then the state of Texas could use that definition as a means to enforce, what is it called, driving laws against you. So if the law states that it's illegal to operate a vehicle under the influence of alcohol, then depending on how the state defines vehicle, that could cause some drone pilots a big problem, because if aircraft are defined as a vehicle, then yes, here in America, you could actually go down for drinking and droning as well.
Yeah, and I guess it depends on a state-by-state basis as to how they exactly define vehicles and aircraft and whether drones are included. I know in New Jersey they made it specifically illegal. It wouldn't surprise me if other states around the country would follow at some point in time.
Definitely could be interesting. And I mean, this is something that'll be interesting just to see how it unravels in time. Now, that being said, it looks like, we've been talking about drone innovation. We've been talking about new things that are coming to the drone industry. But when we're looking for evidence about who may be bringing what to the industry, it seems that patents may tell the story of what we can expect. Haya, what's going on this week in the news?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Drone patent applications. So the number of patents that are filed at the World Organization for Patents and stuff. They looked at the numbers, BDO, an accountancy and advisory company did, and they actually found out that over the last couple of years that Walmart caught up with Amazon. I mean, we all know that Amazon filed a whole bunch of different patents for drone applications. A lot of them we may never see come to life probably, but at least they're claiming those are there. Now, Walmart has been catching up with Amazon, and actually last year they filed more drone patent applications than Amazon did, which is kind of interesting. But what I found was more interesting in that same article is that DJI actually files more drone patent applications than Walmart and Amazon combined. China is actually leading the charge. China filed last year, which runs until July of this year. So the numbers aren't fully materialized yet. But they filed around 6,000 drone patent applications. The US came in at a little over 2,000. So China outperforms us by 3 times. But if you look at the companies that filed those applications, it's DJI that's by far the number one company filing those applications. Interestingly enough, Parrot, the French drone maker, came in the 3rd place, which was interesting as well. But either way, DJI files more patent applications than Amazon and Walmart combined. So even though we're not sure if we're going to see new drones from DJI this year, they must have a whole bunch of ideas in the pipeline, which I guess result in all these filings.
Yeah, it is very interesting. It also goes to show that the retail race, the key performance indicators in who is going to survive in retail over the next couple of decades is truly going to be dependent on last mile delivery. Who is going to be able to provide with their clients the absolute fastest shipping time when someone purchases something to that item arriving at their home or their business or whatever? It makes you wonder, if Amazon and Walmart are competing like this, how are local retailers going to compete as well? And something that I can see happening is, imagine a drone port on the top of every mall. Well, what if DJI understands this conundrum as well, and they're creating their own drone delivery system for unique businesses to essentially able to compete with Amazon and Walmart? And frankly, between you and I actually hope that does happen, as it will create more competition for Amazon and Walmart, because I don't know about you, but I like competition, especially since Amazon started, allowing third-party sellers to be outside of the United States. And I don't know what that has done to your Amazon spending, but between my very close friend group, all of us, let's call them all the nerds, our Amazon spending has collectively gone down by more than 50% between the 4 of us. And I have someone who buys stuff all the time, a good friend, Jason. I mean, he literally buys something on Amazon all the time. And he's like, well, since my deliveries have been late, I've been getting incorrect orders that haven't even shipped. He's like, I just try to find the things locally now, as I have a better consistency to actually get the things that I ordered. So, it just goes to show, I've been talking for a very long time about the next wave of the Industrial Revolution, and drones really are the next wave of the Industrial Revolution, as they create an order of magnitude of scale in communications, in delivery and in the way that we communicate and interact with companies as a whole. It's a platform in its own, and it can solve so many problems. What problems it does solve? Well, that's, I guess, going to be up to our regulators and to the manufacturers as a whole. But getting back to what you just mentioned, Haya, you're not expecting to see a new drone this year, which it seems like may actually be you taking a different step or a different stake in this message, as it's been my understanding that we would not see a new drone above 500 grams this year, that we were expecting some sort of new drone from DJI, but it seems like the news has turned and there's been a twist in the Spark 2 release. What do you have for us this week?
Yeah, unfortunately, that seems to be the case. I mean, originally the Spark 2, the DJI Spark 2 was rumored to be released on July 23rd. But late last week, actually, we got a note from one of our industry insiders saying that due to a shift in priorities, the July 23rd event has now been on hold until further notice. So I don't think we're going to see a Spark 2 coming in before the summer. It sounds very much like what happened last year with the DJI Mavic 2 Pro and the Zoom. We're not quite sure what the delay is, but I think DJI is moving so fast sometimes that they stumble. I mean, if you look at the DJI Osmo Pocket, we're still waiting for a lot of those accessories to come to the market. If you look at the Robomaster, people that want to buy the Playmore package with the controller and the extra battery, you can't buy it yet. And there's no definite answer on when those accessories are going to be available. Now we're seeing it with the Spark 2, rumored to be released before the summer. Now it's been postponed. We're not quite sure if and when it's going to be released, if it may still happen this year. I mean, I do hope so. It's going to be a boring year for sure if we don't get to see a new drone from DJI. The larger drones, I don't count on any of them being released this year still. It seems like DJI is going to hold off with those products until the beginning of next year. And that's basically related to their announcements of the ADS-B receiver component of those new drones being part of all their new drones as of January 2020. So I think there's a good chance we're not going to see any drone from DJI this year, which would be very, very unfortunate indeed.
It would be unfortunate, but there is a silver lining or light at the end of the tunnel, as they would say, because for drone schools like me, I don't have to update all of my core classes with new drones. So, hey! Also, everyone doesn't have to amortize their drone this year to buy a new one. They can save that money and take a trip wherever they like to get some cool drone footage. Well, Haya, very interesting news, as a lot of these kind of common themes we've been seeing take a pivot this week.
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, I think the interesting one really is the one about the patent filings, and with companies, big companies like Amazon and Walmart betting so heavily on drones as being used as the vehicle for final mile delivery. I mean, of course, we all know about companies like Zipline and Wing Aviation from Google. I think the world is going to be quite a different place not too long from now with how packages and products are going to be delivered to people around the country.
Is it just me, or are you excited to actually live in the day and age of the Jetsons?
I am excited. I'm very excited to see what drones can do and how they can make a difference. I mean, there are so many examples, of course, already out there of people's lives being saved by drones, and just new efficiencies that are being able to be realized with the use of drones. A lot of those things happen on a relatively small scale still. And I think with the FAA getting the rules in place for drones to be used in commercial ways, and drones becoming better and better and more capable, I think it's going to be very, very different and very interesting in the next couple of years when it comes to how drones are going to make an impact on our day-to-day life. I
couldn't agree more. In fact, I'm already excited to see how Uber is using helicopters in New York City to go from the financial district over to JFK. I may just have to take the Uber helicopter just to see how it is.
Really sweet.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Haya, thanks again for joining us for this week's news. I know you couldn't make it last week, and we are all sorry for that. But looking forward to seeing you again next week and kind of covering some of the issues plaguing companies using drones. And that's all I'm going to say, because there's a lot coming out on that side. We've been doing a lot and excited to share some of these common issues. Issues that, in my opinion, Haya, could actually affect the growth of the industry if these issues are not tackled. So really excited to go in depth about this next week.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to the next week's show, man.
All right. Well, Haya, thanks again for joining us, and looking forward to talking with you as well. For everyone else out there, thanks again for joining our show. Don't forget to subscribe to the show or leave us a review, especially if you like the news shows. We will keep them coming. If you haven't checked out all the episodes with Haya and I at the FAA Symposium, I highly recommend that you go back and check those shows. And also, Haya, as we talk and this show gets published, I believe we will have published 1,000 episodes of Ask Drone U, and I just want to say I'm so grateful that one of our few series and offshoots that we have done with you. So I just want to say thanks for being a part of the family.
Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you as well, and congratulations. 1,000 shows is quite a feat, man. I mean, that's something to be proud of.
Well, thank you very much. Honestly, I still remember when we were sitting inside of a standard office around a circle table. Yeah. And literally filming a podcast around this thing, and we still have it. This is what the podcast used to, come from. And now we have this, this whole studio and these beautiful, expensive microphones, but Skype still gives us the crappy audio quality. You gotta love that.
I may have to go back and watch some of your earliest shows to see how far you've come. But right now, it seems like it's a pretty well-oiled machine, and I'm happy to be part of it. I'm looking forward to the next so many shows that we're going to be doing together.
I'm excited too. Hi, I'm really grateful to be working with you. Excited that I met you at a conference last year. So
likewise.
That's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Haya, as well. This is just something that we love to do, and we are excited to see you next week. So thanks for joining us. You're listening to another awesome episode of Ask Drone U.